Good evening, folks, and welcome back to day number 41 of the Bible in 365. Today we are taking a look at Numbers chapter 1, beginning in verse 42, and exploring all the way to Numbers chapter 3, ending in verse 32. We've got a lot to talk about today, folks, so let's go ahead and get started. So picking up where we left off yesterday in Numbers chapter 1. Numbers chapter 1 is a census. The Lord tells Moses to count the able-bodied men who are essentially 20 years or older who can go off and fight the war for the promised land. Now, this land was promised by God to the Israelites, but God is going to use them to take the land and to crush the enemies or the current inhabitants of that land and to drive them out. And so Moses is supposed to do essentially a military census. At the end of the chapter, today in our reading, we learn that this is a large amount of men. This is about 603,550, I believe. And so essentially, these are the men who, once again, are going to go fight for the promised land. Now, Moses would have given a more detailed accounting of this back to the Lord, not just a number. And so here, we also learn that the Levites are not counted because they are not available to fight. They have a special provision. Once again, the tribe of Levi has a special provision because they're going to remain behind the battle lines in order to continue ministering to the people and helping with the tent of meeting and the tabernacle there during the battle. And so they are not counted as able-bodied men because they are going to stay behind because they have a special calling by the Lord. Now, moving forward to Numbers chapter 2. Within Numbers chapter 2, the Lord gave Aaron and Moses instructions on how the Israelites are supposed to set up their camp around the tent of meeting. And essentially, each tribe is supposed to keep a certain distance from it. And they're supposed to display family banners and set it up according to specific standards. And so it starts, this whole chapter starts off by counting off the tribes. It tells us, like the Judean people, there was a little over 74,000. The Issachar tribe had a little over 54,000. Zebulun had over 57,000. The tribe of Reuben had over 46,000. The tribe of Simeon had over 59,000. The tribe of Gad had over 45,000. And so it tells us about these camps. And it does tell us that the Levi camp, the camp of the Levites, was supposed to be in the middle of all the camps, but there's no number. So at this point, they haven't been counted because they're not the able-bodied men who are going off to war. It also tells us information about Ephraim that had a little over 40,000, Manasseh over 32,000, Benjamin had over 35,000, Dan had over 62,000. Asher had over 41, Naphtali had over 53, and so it gives us these specific numbers. All those numbers come out to 603,550. So these are the documented families. Once again, the Levites hadn't been counted, and so these are the able-bodied males who are going to be able to go off to war. Now, within Numbers chapter 3, tells us a little bit of a recounting of Aaron and Moses and how the Lord met with them at Mount Sinai. It tells us of Aaron's sons and how they were called to be priests. There was 4 in total: Nadab, Abihu, Ithamar, and Eleazar. The first 2, Nadab and Abihu, they died before they could be ordained by God, and they didn't have any children. So that leaves just Ithamar and Eleazar to serve as priests. And they served as priests throughout the entirety of their father's life. Here it also says that the Levites were dedicated to Aaron, to help out Aaron. And essentially, their entire clan belonged to God. And so at this point, Moses was to count all of the males that were 1 month or older and to keep a list of all of their names. So he's doing a census of the Levites and of their livestock as well. And then it starts giving us a recounting of the sons of Levi. And so it tells us the sons of Levi. It tells us the names of the Gershonite clans, the Kohath clan, the Merarite clans, and the clans of Levi, essentially family by family. And it gives us their number. It is here in the middle of all this counting, and with each of the tribes, it tells us their specific responsibilities within the tent of meeting, what they're supposed to care for and take care of. And so it's with this special census, along with calling or occupation, their specific assignment, that we end our reading for today. Now, we are going to pick up with this story. Tomorrow, we're going to take a look at Numbers 3, beginning in verse 33, and we're going to explore all the way to Numbers 5, ending in verse 22. So, folks, that's all I have for you today. I hope that you will join me tomorrow, once again, for day number 42. As always, folks, God bless.